And we're live just like that. Dylan, big shout out. I've just seen you jump into the chat. Dylan says, hope all are having a nice day. Dylan, big shout out. Do you know what? I'll ring you tomorrow. We've got a lot planned. And do you know what? Give a big shout out to Dylan. He's running the Instagram page at the moment and the TikTok. So give a big shout out to Dylan there. But guys, yeah, it's nice to be back, isn't it? It's really nice to be back. Do forgive me. I do have a cold at the moment, so you'll probably hear me coughing and spluttering and sneezing and whatever. But yeah, look, I'll address the elephant in the room. I was not around for the last few days, and that is not because I have a cold, by the way. I have not been around the last few days. I pulled up an family emergency. I want to give a big shout out to anyone that reached out. We actually had quite a few of you guys reach out. To update you, my grandmother was put into hospital in London with pneumonia, and she was extremely weak. So I had to travel down to London. Anyway, of you that don't know, this is not my normal studio. I'm currently at the missus' house, and yeah, so I had to travel down to London, which is about a 4-hour trip. But we had numerous amount of you guys reaching out. I even had one of the Joby executives reach out asking, hope I'm okay. I don't want to give his name away, but big shout out to Joby. We'll cover some of Joby's news today. We have a big Archer announcement that, look, it's a few days old, but we may as well cover it. I never covered it on a video, but do you know what? It's just nice to be back. I'll be dead honest with you. I have not been looking at the markets. You can ask Dylan. I haven't been looking at the markets the last few days. Do you know what? When family comes, you realize the market isn't really that important. But you know what? We're getting back to it, and I thought there's no better time to get back into the swing of things than do the research here with you guys. So I'm going to pull up a few articles. Half of them I haven't read myself. I'm going to pull up a few articles. We're going to get up to date together. So do smash that like button as you're getting in. Also, over the last few days, I've been able to work on things outside of the channel. Well, it kind of incorporates into the channel, but it's not necessarily videos. So we'll go through that as well. But yeah, looking today was a bit of a wild day, wasn't it? I was driving for most of the day, so it has been a bit of a yo-yo. Archer up 0.43%, still floating below that $7 range. I think we'll find support pretty soon, but look, earnings call's coming up. Joby's coming up, what, in 2 days' time? So make sure you're around for that. I think I'll drop that link later. We're going to have, look, we normally have over 1,000 people live with us for Joby, so I can't wait for that. And yes, I am talking from the Joby boys, so I can't wait to see what it turns into. Vertical aerospace down 7.5%. Look, anything around that $4 range, if you really believe in vertical aerospace, now is a beautiful opportunity. I am just extremely scared at the moment that vertical aerospace will drop below that $4 range. I believe we drop below that $4 range. There's not much holding it up. We've done the top 5 holders in vertical aerospace last week. And look, the CEO seems to have sold off an awful lot recently. If any of you guys can let me know why. Like, if we compare his position to both Adam Goldstein's and Joe Benson, their respective companies, he seems to have sold off an awful lot. So I need to dive further in. I'm going to do a few deep dives this week into the companies again in a lot more detail. Beta Technologies down 2.52%. It's 1816. I actually have an article to bring to you guys. They actually got a price raise up to $30 by a analyst. So we'll go through that today as well. Horizon Aircraft down 1.06%, 186 at the moment. I said 180 is my buy zone, but look, they're safer than ever now. I'm not saying they're a safe play, but they're a lot safer than ever. They have a bit of cash behind them. This time, I think it's around 23 million. It should get them past the rollout of the Cavra X7 prototype. So, yeah, if you want to add to your position in Horizon Aircraft, great opportunity at the moment. If you're not in Horizon Aircraft, look, who am I to tell you what price to jump in at? But 186 is a fantastic. And then, did I cover everyone there? I covered Joby. Did I? Down 3.34%. 954. Joby's been flying a lot recently. There's a lot of talk about Toyota at the moment. They actually put out a bit of PR about Toyota, and it was a year since they flew around. Was it Sumitomo? I can't remember where they flew around. They flew around somewhere in Japan, and we have an article as well that Toyota has safeguarded their $1 billion investment, and we're hoping to get that tranche, the 250 million tranche, accessed by Joby Aviation pretty soon. But yeah, guys, do jump into the chat. Let me know how you're feeling about the whole week. I'm going to be honest, genuinely, this is the first time I'm looking at since Friday, I think. Thursday, Friday? I can't remember the last time I was here. Thursday, Friday. But yeah, we did have Archer Aviation selecting Bristol for their engineering facility. Bristol, what? 5 hours from here. I put a joke up on X saying that's why I'm in the UK at the moment. I want to put it out here. I thought I'd be live sooner than that. I have nothing to do with anything going on in Bristol. Yes, we were speaking to some Archer Aviation boys, but it's nothing to do with Bristol. Would you like me to go down, visit the engineering hub down in Bristol? Would you like me to go and visit Vertical Aerospace as well? That's not that far either. What, about 4 hours away drive? Do it all in one day. That would be pretty nice. But yeah, the engineering hub, it's more or less to support the Anduril and GKN venture they're going after. Myself and Dylan were actually speaking about that tail structure that they put out when they announced the partnership there. And we were starting to think, we were trying to think outside the box. Now, I don't want to give too much away because I want to wait till Dylan's on to speak about what we were sort of toying with the idea, and then no, it's going to be what we believe, an unmanned aircraft. But look, again, Anduril, I think that Anduril partnership is a lot bigger than what we first originally thought. It's all going to include not only the licensing technology, not only the hybrid VTOL that they're making, but I honestly believe there'll be more unmanned aircraft, more licensing deals all across the world. Look, the two biggest allies of the US is the UK and Japan. We've got the UK here with that GKN partnership. Where's the Japan one? Just remember that. Japan will be involved there, I really believe. So then Joby Aviation, we hit on Toyota did safeguard the $1 billion investment. So look, we can more or less guarantee that Joby are going to hit that 250 million tranche. That would be great considering they've successfully passed through the, was it $1.2 billion dilution? They have an extremely healthy amount of capital on the books now. So I am not worried about Toyota, or not Toyota. I'm not worried about Joby having to raise any more capital prior achieving certification. However, I think we can go for 2, 3, 4 more capital raises before we get to that mass scale out we're talking about. Now, Joby did get a price cut. I can't remember who it was buy, but I know it was from $17 down to $15.50. One thing I want to highlight here, guys, both with Joby with the price cut, and then we've had Vertical Aerospace get a price cut. I think it's down to $4, and then Beta Technology got a price raise up to $30. Don't worry what the analysts think. Remember, analysts, they don't necessarily, it sounds professional, they don't necessarily cover the company like any of us do that research it every single day. They're literally given a list to review the stock. What? I don't know how long they'd take. Maybe take a week to analyze the stock. But they don't have any sort of like, I don't know. You shouldn't have too much emotional investment, but they don't really care what sort of price they slap on it. So if you even compare it to last year across so much industries, you can see where analyst price targets have been completely smashed. And then on the other hand, analyst price targets don't get met. So analyst price targets, I remember when I first started investing, I sort of used them as a guide. I don't even use them as a guide anymore. I think it's nice news when you get a price target rise. Normally, if it's a big institution, it does push up stock a little bit, but apart from that, I think it's all noise. And again, I can speak about that whole noise in the space recently. Look, I think going forward, I think the Hustle Brothers as a brand need to focus more on what brings us all together as an industry. I think we need to focus on the eVTOL industry. Yes, there's different players in this game, but it's like you want to watch American football. You don't want any company to, or any team to do something that would wreck the whole sport or industry. So, look, I think we're all on the same team. I still, hand on heart, stand by Archer can't survive without Joby, and I 100% believe too that Joby can't survive without Archer. We've said it many, many times that if one of these fail, you're going to get bad sentiment in the whole industry, and you're just going to scare investors off. You look at Robinhood. Some people won't even touch Robinhood, not only as an investment, but as a product. And it's taken them so long. And many people you speak to, because they got stung so badly with the likes of Robinhood, they won't invest in the likes of SoFi or Nubank, etc. So, look, we need the whole industry, especially in this early stage, to push forward. We need everyone to excel. Look, we've already had one fallen soldier in lithium. We don't want to see many more, and especially not one of the big boys. But look, I have no indication that any of the big boys have any problems. We've spoken about what happens if a catastrophe happens with someone on board one of these aircraft. Look, it's hard to actually say this live, but things will happen. Whether it's in 5 years, whether it's in 20 years, something is going to happen. And as long as that happens later rather than sooner, we will be fine. But you don't need anything happen. That's why when we see delays in not only FAA certification, but even with the likes of the product. So, look, we say Joby Aviation even are on the cusp of that certification. But again, we've been speaking about the tweaking of the aircraft. They even put it up today. Let me double check it there. They were speaking about a hangar and the flight test mechanics, and they're tweaking up their aircraft to hit mission critical benchmarks. And this is exactly what we're speaking about. They're not going to put out I'm not calling it a substandard product, but just because they can get through certification doesn't mean they have to get through certification with the product that will achieve certification. They need the best possible product going out to the market. Same with Archer. I can't say too much, but the 2-blade propeller works, the 4-blade propeller works through transition. It's all about tweaking up the best possible product to go to market. We're now hitting that VTOL envelope. A lot of excitement around that at the moment. I think that's why Archer is sort of holding its price range now, and it's not sinking with the rest of them. Will we get an announcement at the earnings call? Look, I don't think we're going to get a confirmation of a transition that's taken place, but we will get confirmation, I believe, within the next week or so that we are vertically taking off and landing with a pilot on board. We'll probably get a few beautiful videos, show them to Culper, a bit of excitement. I don't even want to mention them boys, to be fair. But look, we still have so much more time left in Q1. So just because we're reaching the Q4 earnings call doesn't mean that this Q1 transition had to have taken place then. The next earnings call, if it hasn't happened by then I think we will have a few questions asked. I said it, that Joby's flying an awful lot recently, and we have to address midnight. We really do have to address midnight. But look, we've seen that 704AX is alive. My last video I put out is alive. We've seen it. They're entering the VTOL envelope. So, look, I wouldn't panic too much. Then, yeah, so I've had quite a few of you guys reaching out, and then I put up some polls recently, and do I create a website, etc. Guys, have any of you seen the website? Or do you want me to bring up the website? Do you know what? I might just bring up the website. It might be a little bit easier. While I'm getting ready, do smash that subscribe button. Also, smash the like button. More likes we get, it gets us going. Do you know what's really pushed me back in this whole project? I was projecting 5K by the end of March. I've lost my momentum now at the moment, but look, it may still happen. But yeah, what I'll do, I will fire up the Hustle Bravo website here, and we will talk through everything that's happened. See exactly what you want. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. You can download the app now, and we're going to put up a few articles up there. Any of our videos will go straight up there. So if you want notifications on not only videos, but on recent articles we're pushing out, do download the app. It's completely free. So don't be panicking about us trying to rip you off, I guess. Completely free. Yeah, so this is my beautiful pink website. Do you know why it's pink? I'll tell you why it's pink. Because when I bring it up here and see the background of VTOL Weekly, it kind of goes with it, doesn't it? So I wanted to keep it all along the same color. All these links up on top, they do work. That is our X, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Make sure you smash it. Yes, guys, I am in the UK, so that is www.thehustlebrothers.co.uk. But yeah, you can literally fire in your email there. You get all the website benefits. There's discount codes, etc. when you sign up there. But look, it means I can email you as and when we drop any sort of decent information. You can learn a bit about the team there. You can jump into our YouTube, a little bit about the Hustle Brothers. And yes, guys, some of you wanted a little bit of merch there. The pricing's a little bit weird at the moment. I'm trying to work out how to do it. What I've been able to do, I've been able to apply discount codes. So any of the members that have been on the channel, you should now receive a post on the members page saying that you now have a discount code. Also, you sign up for that community thing, you get a discount code straight away. So look, any of you don't want to do that, but if you want a t-shirt, you want a mug, you want any of that stuff, don't worry about any of these sponsorships. That's only for, I get a lot of brand deals reaching out, and I just want them to go through that and actually speak to me rather than, I don't want to be putting adverbs on the channel if it's nothing to do with nothing we speak about put it that way. With any of them t-shirts now, you do get a free video as well. But yeah, there's all different stuff on that website. Just jump on, download the app. I think it comes up on your mobile phone or whatever. So jump in, have a look at it. Then let me jump back across here. Oh, I am so out of touch when it comes to live streaming again, so do bear with me, guys, while I set everything back up again. Jonathan, big shout out, my guy. Click the like button. Do you know what? You do follow us every single live stream. You always tell people to bang the like button. So, do you know what? I'm going to try my best to do something for you, my guy. Click the like button, Jonathan says. What are we saying here? It doesn't says, I think, Joseph, the best way is not price per earnings, but price to books and getting that ratio for valuation pre-revenue profit. Same thoughts for you. Oh, you're replying to Joseph. So Joseph says, how can the analyst set a forecast with earnings per share of minus 0.20 when it's obviously going to be a big miss again? Algorithms will sell big on the news, but a big bounce will recover the share price on the news. So yeah, it's all to do with price per books. But you know what? It's a little bit complicated to explain. That's actually quite an interesting video I could drop on how they do the earnings per share on any of these non-profitable companies. I'll bang a video up. I'll actually try and get it out tonight. But yeah, algorithms will sell in big news. But look, algorithms at the moment, we need to think about it. Archer and Joby are at the stage, they're that safe that, well, I say safe, they're still speculative. But at the moment, what is Archer sitting at the moment, market cap wise? Jump in here. So Archer's at a 5.1 billion market cap. Really, it's all to do with your market cap and then your volume. So in order for any big institute to get into the likes of Archer, Joby, etc., they'd like to see quite a bit of volume in these stocks. They need to see it traded because if you think about it, yeah, they're not going to invest in these companies if they can't get out when they want to get out. So you need a lot of volume in these volatile stocks. If you compare it to the likes of vertical aerospace, for example, there's not a lot of volume there, and therefore, or even Horizon Aircraft, the big institutes won't go in because they can't sell out. But then it's like a catch-22, because if the big institutes won't go in, if they can't get the market cap up, they can't raise the stock price, then when they're in need of capital, they can't actually go to markets because there's not enough of a valuation in the company. So this is where it turns into a spiral of doom. Like Archer and Joby. Look, I don't even know. Can I get the volume up here while I'll try and get the volume up of both Archer and Joby. Look, the average volume of Archer over 3 months is 37.66 million shares, and the average volume over the 10 days is 31.86 million. If we compare that to the likes of vertical aerospace, I don't even want to check. Let me have a look. It's absolutely insane, and that's why, look, vertical aerospace went down 7.5% today. I'm telling you, if it goes below that $4 range, I'd actually be very scared because look, it's a 406 million market cap. Horizon Aircraft's actually catching them. They're about what? Are they 25% of them now? Yeah, volume on vertical aerospace, 1.8 million. For Archer for 30 times higher. And the average volume today was actually not too bad, but the average volume 1.7. I don't know. There's a lot with vertical aerospace I really need to dive into. Oh, look, quite a few of you are quite heavily invested into them. I'd really like, do you know, myself and Dylan, and any of you that don't know him on X, do follow him, Goat Gains. We're going to start doing an Archer Aviation podcast. So it's going to be pre-recorded, and then we're going to fire it out. So there'll be a little podcast. I think it'll be half an hour long. So I think we're going to limit at 30 minutes once a week and fire out an Archer Aviation one. Then want to do a Joby Aviation one. Myself, Dylan, any of you guys that want to jump in to a Joby Aviation podcast with us, do jump in. The only thing I'm going to say in both the Archer Aviation, look, I'm happy to have another spot filled. Maybe we can have guest spots. But I'm happy to have another spot filled on the Archer Aviation podcast too. But the whole thing is, if you're on the Archer Aviation podcast or you're on the Joby Aviation podcast, I don't want shots fired off of stocks. Then vertical aerospace, I have a guy in mind for a vertical aerospace podcast, and then Horizon Aircraft. Yeah, I do have a few guys in mind for a Horizon Aircraft podcast. Beta Technologies might do one there too. Have I missed one? EHang, maybe. EHang Marketing are actually speaking to me at the moment, but I don't know where that's going to go. Yeah, I want to do a few more podcasts too. They'll be about 30 minutes long. And at least then the diehards, if you can't get VTOL weekly, we'll cover some of it there. But I want to actually start the podcast off for anyone that wants to get up to scratch on the likes of Archer, Joby, etc. So we can all be on the same wavelength. The Electric Whisper says, EHang. We can do EHang. If you want to join me on an EHang podcast, you're welcome to, my guy. Yeah, we could do EHang. Be a smart one. Jonathan says, 10 more shares of Joby today, total free 70 Joby, 500 Archer. You're building nicely, my guy. Look, what did you think of that video of how many shares you need to be a millionaire? What is your target share price for them over the next 5, 10, 20 years? Do let me know. But one share at a time, my guy. That's how I accumulated a lot of Rocket Lab. Any of you that don't know what I started doing with Rocket Lab eventually. So I was firing it from a code into Rocket Lab when it was at like 420, etc. And you know them little disposable, I can't say them. You know, you put them in, yeah. I was heavy on them. They were 8. So back home it's euro. They're €8 at the time. They're not now. They're like 25 quid. But anytime I wanted one of them, it actually got me off them because I'd buy 2 shares of Rocket Lab in between. And at the moment, look, Archer is about the price of a cup of coffee, maybe slightly more than a cup of coffee. But yeah, I ban your cups of coffee for 7 days. That's 7 shares of Archer Aviation. Joby, look, forget your coffee for 2 days. You've got a share of Joby. Then Alex says Toyota posted about Joby the second 250 million tranche could be imminent. Has been 9 months since the first tranche. Yeah, we were speaking about that a little bit earlier, and they've also safeguarded the $1 billion investment. So that is happening. That 250 million is definitely imminent. And you watch Joby's stock price soar from there because they're more or less getting another 25% on that capital raise as well with that 250 million. It's getting very safe for Joby at the moment. it's been beaten down quite heavily, hasn't it? So it dropped quite heavily. I think it overextended on that capital raise, and then it's been pushed down even further with the whole macro market pushing down. So I think when Joby runs, it's going to go like a spring. I think it's going to start pushing up. How many of you guys think Joby is going to certify in 2026? Do you think it's still going to happen? Would it be a deal breaker if they don't? Do you think Archer will certify in 2027? Again, will it be a deal breaker if they don't? Or is there caveats there? If they achieve another deal, etc., what am I talking about? A military contract? Would you be happy with that? Or are you heads down for this commercial operations to start ASAP? EIPP coming up on the 3rd. Is it the 3rd of March? Or, yeah, 3rd of March. Isn't that? Or is it the 4th? I can't remember. I'm getting it all mixed up. Archer's Earnings Day and Archer and EIPP. Do let me know, guys. Also, if you're new here, smash that like button. Every like gets us another 10 more views. 10 more views is 10 more brains. 10 more brains, we can get, what, another 10 for each of them. That's 100. We just keep pushing it out like that. But this eVTOL industry is going to take off. We're early in this, yeah? Just imagine where we're going to be when certification ends. This is going to be all over Bloomberg. This is going to be all over all of your major broadcasts. And not even Bloomberg, yeah? Bloomberg, yes, of course, they're going to cover it. I don't know. What do you use over there? Is it CNBC and Fox News and all that? I don't know your news channels. It's going to be all over for the public. If you think, I'd say higher than 95. I'd say 98% of people probably never have heard of this whole concept, electric air taxi. Electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle. We only know it because we follow it. But do you think your grandmother, or not even your grandmother's best friend, or your mother's cousin has heard of electric air taxis? So just imagine how much excitement is going to be around the place. Not only when we get certified, but even when the EIPP rolls out and you see one of these flying. Now that I've been over here, every time I see a helicopter, my head goes up, just like a turkey. Have you ever seen a turkey when a helicopter goes past? They all go up together. But you realize how loud helicopters are. Look, back home, I probably see a helicopter once every 3 months or so. When I was down in London, you'd see one every, 10 minutes? And you realize the solution that both Archer and Joby are bringing here. It's not only the time effectiveness, the cost effectiveness, but again, the environmental sound, the acoustic effectiveness of these. You look at the Cavra X7 is going after that whole helicopter market. Even if they can secure 1% of that, yeah, we're talking some big money, guys. Electric Whisper says, today might be the last day Joby is cheap. It might be. I don't want to call that. I really don't want to call that. Are you implying that you think the Toyota tranche will be released tomorrow? That'd be wild. Dark pool activity during the last week shows significant institutional accumulation in the 950 to 980 range. Large players are building a base before the earnings call. They know something. Remember I said that about a year ago. I said big money and big institutes. Are you telling me, yes, we can talk about... I don't want to accuse anyone of anything, so I need to be careful what I say here. We can talk about any company. Do you genuinely believe that behind closed doors, there's not a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, something's happening? I really am starting to think so. Because why all of a sudden the massive institutional investment in Archer Aviation recently, and you're saying there's a nice accumulation between 950 and 980 for Joby. We're expecting quite a bad earnings call for Archer. That's the sentiment. You genuinely think it's going to be bad? So I think it's going to prove a lot of doubters wrong. I think it's going to be exciting. Retail sentiment has fluctuated. The put call for March expiration has leaned heavily towards calls. Big money is betting that the 2026 Dubai launch is real valuation driver. We said about Dubai, there's no way Joby would have rolled out a mass marketing campaign at the Burj Khalifa and light of the Burj Khalifa with the S4 if they weren't serious about going in the summer. But at the exact same time, they rolled out with Uber as well. We know about delivery, and I don't want to get too far into that again because we've spoken about it enough. I think we've juiced that lemon enough. But the whole interactive, immersive experience of the S4 while you drive around in your Ubers. Joby is seriously onto something. Again, do you think certification will happen this year? Or do you think we're going to roll out in heavily in the likes of Dubai? And is that why the 2027 mass rollout, the step up of 4 aircraft per month, will happen in 2027? Is that when they're thinking of turning the switch on for US? It's really starting to make me think. I just want to be realistic, guys, too. I don't want to sell anyone a dream. This is not only very early on, and it's not only speculative, but I don't want you banking on just certain timelines happening at certain times. So if you're new to Archer Joby, I don't want you banking on, right, I'm going to wait till certification, and certification has to happen by X date. I think that's the problem. When I see investors even going around X, they're saying so-called company hasn't performed this, and then the others fire back, but we performed that, and X company hasn't. This is an aircraft development program. This is a whole new space. So don't put our own synthetic timelines on a space that even the experts can't even get the timeline right. And I think you'll sleep better at night knowing that, look, at the likes of Joby Aviation, they've a nice capital runway now. That extra 1.2 billion. The 250 million tranche incoming. What did they have prior to that? Was it near enough $1 billion? So you'll sleep so much better at night if you don't put your own synthetic timeline. It's not even your own synthetic timelines. Some timeline that you've heard some clown spout on X, and because they've got a little bit of a following, you think it's gospel. If I put a timeline out, don't believe me. Don't use the Hustle Brothers as your only source of information when it comes to eVTOLs. Because again, this is just opinion. We try our very best to speak to as many people as possible, and I think anyone can agree 80% of the time we're going along the right track. 20% saying, yes, I am a complete melt, but do you know what? It's just an exciting time to be in this space. I've actually started adding a little bit more Rocket Lab recently too. Right, guys. Let me jump in. I got it open. I haven't even got it open. I was going to run a poll. I might not even run a poll. Yeah, I can't even get into it. I'm not even going to run a poll, my guys. Who's going to be here for the earnings call? The Joby earnings call tomorrow. Well, it's tomorrow for me. For you guys, it's probably 2 days' time. But yeah, that's going to be exciting. That's going to be very exciting. If you have ever seen me explode with passion, both in the positive and the negative, your earnings call, both Joby and Archers. Yeah. 4 times per year. You are excellent at looking smug, like you know something no one else does. That's what impresses me about you. Thank you so much, my guy. Joseph says, if you're buying today, you are all in very early. If your timeliness is waiting for them to reach profitability, that should be at least your target. Because I genuinely think when certification comes around, I think it's going to be a sell moves event. I think a lot of the traders, and I think some very naive investors that would class themselves, they'd class themselves long term, but really about medium term investors. They're waiting for certification and they're going to sell out. And it won't surprise me if institutes sell out too, trying to drive the stock price down. They drive stock price down, then retail panic. They want to get out because that is their only timeline they have been banking on. So they sell out and institutes come back in and swoop up, steal them shares. So, yeah, profitability definitely is one I'd be looking for. Alex says, I wouldn't miss earnings no matter what. Do you know what? I genuinely thought this week, after everything that happened, that I was going to miss the earnings, and I would have been so disappointed. Now, I did bring my gimbal with me, just in case I had to do it on the fly, but no, I'm back. Electric Whisperer says, the Trump admin is going down in flames. They're under tremendous pressure to get something done related to tech. That's why they said they want 2026. I don't want to talk about politics. Number one, I don't understand American politics enough. Number two, I know Trump is a very touchy subject in both the positive and the negative. So I don't really want to go down that. Right, guys. Do you know what I'll do? I'm going to jump off now. I'm going to record a few videos. But yeah, make sure to check out the new website. Let me see if I can bring it on here again. There you go. That is your website there. Check that out. It's completely free to sign up to be part of the Hustle Brother website community. I'll be able to reach out to you, be able to keep you up to date. But yeah, download that app because myself and Dylan are going writing posts with a lot of improvements to make on the website. I want to maybe have ticker symbols for the eVTOL channel or the eVTOL stocks. And yeah, any sort of like member only content or anything, look, make sure you've signed up for that for free and all your member only stuff will get sent directly out to you. But yeah, my name is Ian, one of the Hustle Brothers. Thank you so much for being patient with me this week. This is day 51 of the VTOL challenge. I am going to catch up, I promise you. But yeah, guys, I'll see you, well, later on. I'm going to record a video now, so I'll see you later on.